Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Welcome to Model Talk.
We're back.
It's Devin Blackerby.
And Nicole Nance. And today we're talking about all of the different roles that you kind of play throughout your modeling career and different jobs and such.
Yes.
So,
cool.
let's do this.
Okay. Okay.
You have a longer list than I do.
Do I? Oh, okay. Okay. I feel like I should start off with this. I think maybe my list is slightly longer than yours because I think this also plays into what we've slightly talked about before, which is what you're willing to do for your brand and what, and also what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because like I can talk about lingerie because I'm okay with doing that. There's other people I know who can talk about nude modeling or I don't know the technical term. I guess more like a erotica style modeling.
Yeah, like fantasy or yeah.
Yeah. So I think it also depends what you're willing to work on. But like a new one for me is bridal. I haven't started doing bridal at least I think it's been within the recent last like year or two. Because before I had never worked in that field and I had known people who had done it, but it seemed like it was a very close-knit circle and you had to get in through like certain routes, like because it seemed like most of the bridal work here, specifically in Portland, was through like bridal style shows or conventions. Like you would go to the Oregon Convention Center, like the bridal convention, and then they would do a fashion show there for bridal wear. Like it seemed like you had to be really in with that crowd, and I
Or know like a bridal designer.
like perfect example, Allison Cook. Like she does a lot of bridal. It's because I think she knows a lot of those designers. So I see her constantly working in bridal, and I'm like, oh well, I've never reached those people, so I wouldn't know. So that's really recent for me.
Yeah. Bridal's fun. I've never done bridal as like a couple, like with another model.
I haven't either.
I've always just done it as the bride.
I've done it solo.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be weird in a couple.
I think it would be weird too, although I mean...
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. That always though, it can be weird even when you're working with like any type of other model.
Do we want to start with couples work?
Sure.
Cool. Couples work plays into everything. Because literally, like we just said, you can do couples work in bridal. I've mostly done couples work in fashion.
Okay.
Not necessarily athletic. And I feel like athletic couples work is more like we're running together. You don't necessarily have to play off each other as much. I think mostly fashion and editorial. I don't think I've done any super fantasy couples work. To me, it's been mostly fashion and editorial. And you have to sell the like whole idea that like the two of you would be together. So you have to play off each other. You almost have to have like intimacy without actually ever doing anything. So like to me, it almost looks like you're about to kiss, but then you never you never do. But you get like to that closeness.
The chemistry.
Yeah, with that person.
I feel like it would be hard to do that if you didn't have some kind of like story.
Yeah.
Like
to play with.
Yeah, like because whatever you're trying to portray, whatever type of relationship. I've never done like a couple shoot, except my engagement shoot.
I know, but that's your engagement shoot.
I just never have. Now that I'm like thinking about it, it's never even come across my path. Like I've modeled with male models, but it wasn't like
It wasn't like we're shooting together.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to look like we were together. It was just male and female clothing in the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah. I've done a couple. I'm trying to think the most recent one. Probably the most recent one is ages ago that I did with... Oh, you know what? No. The most recent one I did with my friend Flitz, but that was more like we were friends. But we all shot together in LA around like his apartment and stuff and did like some streetwear stuff. So that was kind of coupley because we did a couple shots. But besides that, I'd say like I did a shoot with Tracy Schultz and me and this other male model like Brad Danes were kind of like this like aquatic couple. We almost we looked like kind of, to me we looked like people that got shipwrecked but in a real stylish way because I had like a net in my hair as like a net hairpiece, and then he we like grayed out his hair, and then he had like this whole cone of sticks around him.
Can we post this?
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Okay.
I need to find him. It's been a while, so that's what I'm saying. It's older, and
we'll post that on our Instagram.
So then we were saying that we were like this like shipwrecked couple, and that was our whole story through the whole shoot. Otherwise, I've done a little bit of couples work with like Kamyar and stuff. When we were first shooting,
I've seen those.
Those are old. Yeah. Those are like me in a swimsuit and him just like in like some shorts and just like, hey. But yeah.
Yeah, no, just definitely not a part. Like I haven't had experience doing that.
Letting in
cat.
the cat. We're letting
Hi, Nacho.
in Nacho.
He's back.
You're just famous now because of this podcast.
I know.
Nacho, you took my seat.
I currently have a potential shoot in the works.
With Nacho? Yes! Oh my god, we'll post that if that happens, guys. That'd be so See? Okay. Tangent. Ryan's Artists, our agency, will occasionally send out things about like, there's photo shoot calls for like you and your pet.
Yeah.
Send us pictures of your pet. And I would love to do it with my cat, but there's no way I could get her on set without her freaking out. So I'm just like, dang it, I shouldn't even send it. But it's like, I want to because she's like really cute. And she would actually probably like photograph really well as like a cute commercial cat. But I was like, dang it, I don't know if I could get her to do anything. Like, I don't think she would do it. And I'm like, I want us to be on film together. Like,
I mean, my dog is really freaking cute, but I've tried to take pictures with her before and she's a diva. She like won't look at the camera. She just...
Oh, Bella knows how to pose because I trained her because that's how crazy of a cat mom I am.
That's so funny.
I trained her how to kind of look at the camera. So
that's cute.
At least on my phone. Like, I don't know about an actual camera, but on my phone I can get her to kind of look at it and be like, come look at the camera.
Aww,
like,
cute.
So it's pretty cute.
And the photographer's coming here to do it.
Notch,
so
you're going to be famous.
Notch doesn't have to travel because he doesn't travel well.
No.
No.
Buddy, you're going to be so famous.
Yeah, he's cute. Maybe I'll start him an Instagram. Nacho the Tabby.
No, he's so cute.
Yeah. I love working with animals.
Yeah. I haven't done that still. Besides,
well, that's a role, working with animals.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little last time.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit on other podcasts. I enjoy doing that, but yeah. That's like just a different style. Not okay. Yeah. Anyways, other types.
So bridal to me is very the role I play is very like simple beauty. It's usually not a lot of makeup, or if it is, you really can't tell there's a lot of makeup. It's super natural, and then it's usually very pretty, or like, to me, I describe it as like pretty girl in like a simple or industrial space. Like it's never super. It's not a David's Bridal commercial.
It's very Pinterest.
Yes.
Like, when you're like a solo bride, at least the shoots that I've done, the entire shoot doesn't revolve around like the smiling and the happy. It's more like the just like alone with yourself. You're happy, but not, crazy smiling.
No, I haven't really done a lot of super smiley bridal work. It's usually like there's a form of catalog to it where they're like front, back, sides, so they can get the whole image. But then they want just like kind of like you said, like some cool Pinteresty or like almost blog looking photos of the dress either moving or like you highlighting a certain part of it. So it's more just like, look how pretty she is in this dress, and we're in a really simple place so you can just focus on her. That's kind of the whole vibe of what you are as a bride. Also, the hair isn't always like done up. Like, my hair is usually sometimes my natural hair, and they'll just like tease it a little bit, and they're like, there you go, like that's bridal.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing like a bridal runway. The bridal runway, I've gotten the full like veil, the earrings.
Almost. I was gonna say pageant, not quite as extreme.
They give you a bouquet.
Yeah.
Like you feel like a bride.
When you're doing like a full styled bridal shoot, like table arrangements, food, all of that, very rarely, like, the more photos come out of details than you. And so anytime I've done that, I've found that you have to be like extra careful with your hands. Because sometimes they're going to crop out that random picture of your hand with the ring, whatever. So...
Or they highlight specific parts. Like, part of one of my boudoir bridal shoots is like literally it's just like, I think, lips to like bottom of my bust, because it's like my hand and you can kind of see the ring they were highlighting. And then I'm holding like a bouquet and I'm in like kind of a white gown. And I was wearing one of the makeup artist's wedding rings. So I was like, someone should not have given this to me.
The wedding ring always gets forgotten.
Yeah.
If you don't like have one.
No one remembers. So someone just gave me theirs and I was like, oh my God, please do not trust me with this responsibility. Like, no, thank you.
I do like doing bridal though. I don't necessarily want to say that it's easy, but it's very relaxed. Like you don't have to get super creative with your poses. You can really take the time to deliver really strong, like soft poses.
Yeah, for sure. It's not aggressive. Also, you get to play around in fun, big dresses sometimes. Or dresses that, like, you know you'll probably never wear. So it's like, hey, let me, like, live in this moment right now with it. But, yeah. And same with, I think that goes right into fantasy, which I feel like you've done way more fantasy than I have. I've done stuff that I think I can categorize as like on the edge or leaning towards fantasy, but you have done more.
I kind of call it like theatrical fashion.
Yeah.
Because the intent always starts out to create like a fashion look, but then it evolves into like more of a narrative around the fashion. I love doing that. That's like probably my strongest area.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially because in those situations, so much of the time, the end result comes from the photographer and the photoshopping in of like I'm looking at one right now that I did with Tom Lupton. It's on my calendar, and he like photoshopped in a really awesome sky in the background and like what they highlight, and that's when you finally are like, oh, that's what they were going for.
Yeah, you never see... Fantasy never starts fantasy, I will say. And also, you do weird poses and stuff, but like, yeah, I don't think it turns into it until someone does some fun editing on it, and then you see it later and you're like, okay, that's actually more fantasy than it is like editorial or whatever you started with, you know?
Yeah.
It's never starting that way. And also, I would say sometimes fantasy looks come out of the most unfantasy poses, like you're really not trying that hard, and then it's just like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, some of my best, like, I would say fantasy style shots are probably more candid ones of me either like moving or dancing and or literally like acting through something. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I feel like here in Portland, that's kind of Tom Lupton's scene. He's a photographer. That's kind of what he...
Yeah, when I first saw Tom's stuff, no offense, Tom, but I didn't know that you did anything else besides fantasy, because all I saw was like his really steampunky photos, and I was like, does that all? Like, so I just didn't, I had no idea, because that's all I saw on his page for a while, was like, which were really cool, but it's such a small zone, so it's like, okay, is that his main focus?
They're like personal passion projects, each individual shoot. Yeah, I know. It's always interesting to see what's going to come from him. Like, the other day at Shift Into Style, I realized this is probably like 3 weeks out from that, but it was at like a $2 million mansion, and Tom was rolling around in the grass taking photos, and he got some like killer shots.
Sounds like Tom.
Yeah, it was funny. It was like in the background of some of my walking videos, like rolling around in the grass.
It's kind of funny.
It's perfect though.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so there's like that fantasy fashion
also, I say fantasy, I think you can get really into the character if you want to, especially if it leans, because I know some people here who do cosplay stuff, like you're fully playing into whatever that character is.
Yeah. A big shout out to Arel Bach-Nelson. I'm going to double check that right now. Okay. She's incredible. She's a local cosplayer.
Wow.
/ potential like makeup artist. She's younger and she's in school and stuff still, but hold on, I'll make sure to tag her in our description. But
did you ever cosplay?
You know, I was Ariel once for like a photo shoot, and that's the closest I've ever gotten.
Would you ever do it for like a con though? Like a Comic-Con?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like going to Comic-Con. I think it's really cool. I just don't know if I'd cosplay. Also because I don't super know who I would be and who I'd want to commit to enough. Also because you have to stay for like the whole day just to get the use out of it, I feel like, too. Or enter the contest. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
we're looking at her Instagram.
Phony Ghost. I mean, she's totally an influencer for sure. But, like, she's just incredible.
Whoa.
I'm totally going to post her stuff. I know you guys
Those are
can't
really
see us
good.
right now.
Dang.
But, yeah, I got to model with her once.
Cool.
Really fun.
But also, I don't think people understand how much effort goes into that, and
Oh my
time
gosh.
and money. And a lot of those people make their own costumes too. Like, they are full seamstress,
Yeah.
full designers. And it takes so much time and effort to go into. And there's also professional cosplayers. Like, there's people who travel the country just to help host things who are cosplayers. But yeah, I don't know. I've always thought I'd maybe do like Kim Possible,
That would be fun.
because I think I could pull it off. I'm close to her hair color. Like, I
Yeah.
could make it work.
That would
but
be super fun.
I could probably do her.
I follow this Instagram. She's called the Dr. Pepper Princess, and she's sponsored by Dr. Pepper, and she does
That's
cosplays.
cool.
She mostly does Disney, but I started following her, and then I started following a bunch of other cosplayers because it's really, I mean, those costumes are detailed.
You just go to Comic-Con. They have people who go. There was a family the last time I went who all did Guardians of the Galaxy. So it was a mom, dad, brother, sister, and they went for it. Like, a kid
awesome.
had the raccoon head. Like, it was really cool.
It's like
just
the ultimate Halloween.
yeah, they just, oh man, I was almost like, oh, I hope they like win out prize money. Like, they did
Yeah.
really well. Like, but anyway.
So there's that.
Yeah. Fashion. I say fashion, you're playing into more what your designer's concept is or what your designer's brand is. So, like, example, Michelle Lesniak always has a concept with almost everything she does, and it's usually really well thought out / executed with the clothing. So taking that and running with it is not hard. Like, a shoot
Yeah.
I did for her, she described it as the Great Depression. So she wanted us to all be really sad, and like at one point we took a photo, and then she stopped and she yelled and she was like, "Oh my God, it looks like your family got swept away by a tornado, and I love it." And I was like, "Okay."
Perfect.
Yeah, so like sometimes,
But that's helpful.
Yeah,
You at
but
least
yeah.
know what's expected.
but that's what I mean. So
Good job.
you're never really playing out like your thoughts for the person,
Yeah.
unless it's like a shoot you've thought of. Like, I've brought concepts to people and I've been like, "This is the girl that I'm portraying, blah 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 blah. This is her life." Like with the shoot with Tom Lupton, I was like, she's like a rich girl, but she's like stuck on a farm. So we're portraying that she's super wealthy, but she just can't get off the farm, and like she's trying to be fashion in a field, like all of those things. And I was like, I think that's what we got. Like, so. Sometimes you get to pick it, but if you're working for a designer, it's usually like their concept.
Yeah.
And you just have to run with it. Like,
Which is fun too. I like doing that a lot. I really like when, I mean, the ideal situation is when you put on the outfit
and you know.
and you're just like, oh yeah, this is perfect. It's all going to go well. And there's been times where these are more collaboration situations, but I'll like go into it with one mindset and then I'll put on the outfit and I'm like, oh no. Like, scratch that. I feel totally different in this. And I find that Vanessa Fraulein, so Fraulein Couture, her designs, like when I put them on, I instantly know like who I am in them.
Yeah, the last thing I wore for her, I felt very like Electra, like, and I was, because of just how the top was styled, and I was like, all right, I see where I'm going.
Yeah.
Like, I see where we're going with this. Editorial and fashion to me are the same thing, except editorial usually goes a little bit more high concept, and there's usually mood boards involved, stylists, and then they usually want you to almost mimic a certain shot that they have found as an inspiration.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, hey, there's this girl in a field. We want you to almost mimic her pose in this field, but we're doing something slightly different. So sometimes you're given something to, like, basically be a mimic of and be a copy of.
Interpret it. But that, like, an interesting side thing that gets talked about all of the time in this industry is copying versus inspiration.
Yes.
Because literally nothing is new, and for all you know, like, you came up with this brilliant concept that you're so excited to do, but 3 years ago you commented on somebody's photo and it's the same concept and it just worked its way into your like creative brain, and like, so you were inspired by it, and sometimes you realize it and sometimes you don't. But man, when you see somebody that just straight up copies something, it's like, I don't know. It's a fine line, but I feel like if you can credit the inspiration, if it's really close to it, you should. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, I did that with the shoot with Tom. Like I put in the story the photo I was trying to mimic.
Oh, did you? Cool.
Yeah, I put it in my story. I was like, oh, this is my inspiration. This is how it turned out. It was from Pinterest though, so I have like, no idea who the artist was. Yeah.
But the idea that you like where you developed it from, and that's like asking. You can't really do that for every shoot because sometimes it's genuinely like I came across this shirt and then over, and it's. But yeah, because sometimes you'll kind of be inspired by a painting and then everything goes from there. And anyways. So yeah, and editorial and fashion, in my mind are really, really similar. I feel like with editorial, my mind immediately thinks like weird or like sharp angles, like severe.
Yes.
Which isn't always the case.
You play into the alien aspect almost. You play like the alien character or you play... the really like the real bitchy character. Like you just look constantly upset. I would say is like that too.
Yeah, that makes me think of like Tyra Banks gives this tip when you're modeling, if it's like extreme modeling, to like fake a stomach ache and just create like a fashionable painful face or like a headache. That to me is like editorial.
Or just look so irritated for no reason, but you're still posing really cool. It's a lot of like if you were in charge here, but you're irritated at the scenario, it's like you kind of play into that mode too.
If you're ever like struggling to get there, just like pretend, like open a magazine, you'll find that, and just pretend to be that person.
Irritated.
Yeah, just annoyed.
Whereas with athletic, you're selling what you're doing. Whatever it is, even if you're faking it. Because sure, there's times where you're not actually running around and you're just jumping in place.
Or you're doing maybe yoga and you really have only done yoga a handful of times in your life.
Yeah, you're just selling the fact that you actually know that you can do yoga or play basketball or play football or whatever the hell you're doing.
Yep.
Or like trail run a bunch.
You're selling an overall like conceptual idea. So you want people to like look at your yoga pants and say like, oh, if I had those, maybe I would do more yoga or I would be like that person. And so you maybe aren't always necessarily good at the task at hand, like the sport, but when you are doing like athletic modeling, you have to be fit. Like you can't really fake.
No, you gotta be fit. You have to click into like a workout mindset almost too, I would say. Also with athletic, there's a form of catalog where, and I say catalog as in they literally take a front shot, a back shot, and a side shot, and you just turn in a circle essentially. Like there's no real posing involved. If there is, it's just to like move to show off an interesting back or move to show off an interesting front, and it's more just you shifting weight leg to leg. You're really not posing that hard, or if you are, it's very lifestyle-y and it's very easy, simple, like not a lot of movement. Like in catalog you have no mindset, you're just showing the clothes. Like there's really no character to tap into unless it's maybe for like some sort of like I can think of like a Fred Meyer ad where they'll be like a girl will be like in motion and it's supposed to be like summer dresses or whatever. So
I think
sometimes
in those situations you're really more portraying your age. Yes. I mean, showing off the clothing obviously to sell it, but you're selling it to a particular age.
I would agree.
Yeah. Usually I would say older too with catalogs, like even the little kid stuff, you're not selling toddler clothes to toddlers.
No, you're selling to the parents.
Yeah, so the kids have to look, cute and like they're not little shits running around. Anyways,
so
kids are great. Yeah. Have you ever had to do a shoot with kids?
No.
Yeah.
Because I don't think so. I've gone out for a couple that were like, oh, we want a young couple. Will you be a girl in this couple? And I've put myself in the running for those, but I think I still look too young. Like I mean, I skew older. Like I definitely look older, but I still think if I had a kid in a scenario of an ad, it'd be like, oh, she's a young mom. I don't think it would do well.
Yeah, people would be like, how old is she?
Yeah, I don't think it would sell correctly. I
could see that.
I think I could sell a young couple, like if it was
Uh-huh.
me and another male model like getting married, or me and another model just in an ad. I think you could be like, okay, they're like probably a younger couple. Maybe they skew up to like 30s, not really, but maybe they do, like who knows. But it's like, I don't think I could sell having a kid.
I think you could pull off being like a woman
A
wanting to
babysitter.
get pregnant, maybe, or like
Wanting to
thinking
be
about
pregnant.
it, thinking about it, like you're walking. I don't even know. Never mind.
Wanting to, yeah,
Thinking about it,
those-
or I don't know. It's funny, like with the whole portrayable age range thing, and you could put you in like a high-end gown that's geared towards 30 and over because makeup and because like just you're just selling the dress and everything. But when you put somebody your age, like 21, in the position of being a mom, it then becomes more obvious how young you are.
Most people, I think, don't. Although people are getting married younger, I feel like
No, really? I feel like they're older.
people do get married older for the most part. I feel like Oregon is one of those places where there are a lot of young couples because they'll get married right out of high school.
Yeah.
So
Pennsylvania's like that. There's a huge like Amish population and then a trickle down where they get married.
we just have a really large Christian population, I feel like, and Mormon. So I think
the
that
West Coast.
plays into it a lot too. So
Yeah, I feel like when you put a model in an actual role, that's when her age comes into question. When you're in a gown, like, who cares?
yeah.
But when you're like supposed to,
Or like if you were so if you were ever in like a liquor campaign, I think they would almost have to be really careful about the age they're casting, because they clearly want you to portray the role of, usually I'd say it's younger 20s, but they usually want you to portray the role of like young woman just going out, just getting a drink, usually probably with her girlfriends, or she's going out clubbing. But they don't want it too young. But wouldn't they want you to be over 21 because there's liquor involved?
yeah,
I would think.
I would think, I would hope.
I mean, I don't know if there's actual rules around that or
There
not.
probably should be laws around that. There have to be with alcohol. I mean, because
What if it's not open though?
yeah, okay,
Because like technically, if you think about a liquor ad, like Absolute always has really wild, like they look like kind of fun ads. Honestly, they'd probably be cool to be in. But I never actually see a bottle being opened. Like it'll be
That's
like
true.
a party scene, then some like weird fantasy scene, and it'll be like maybe someone holding it, and then it'll be like Absolute, and then there's just like a bottle on the screen. Like you never see actually
True.
someone holding it and opening it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like there's totally like actors that are under 21 that have to play a little bit older, and they just they don't drink actual alcohol.
On set,
I
no.
didn't like really think that one all through.
No.
I mean, I guess that's wishful thinking.
Or you, like,
shouldn't
hold
be able
it.
to- yeah.
You hold like a glass of wine, like you hold it.
You shouldn't be able to. It's like when you're a kid and you drink like, I don't know, apple juice out of a wine glass because you like
Or
wanna feel
sparkling
cool.
cider.
Yeah, sparkling cider.
I
But
would, yeah.
I think that's just like ideally I would hope they're not using under 21-year-olds to sell alcohol. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are around that. I think that would also potentially be a hard thing to portray, because you know that you're working for a liquor company, but maybe you don't personally drink or something. I feel like that might be a challenging one for people who don't know how they stand on like the use of alcohol.
Yeah. That is an interesting point though with modeling. Like you eventually, the longer you're in it, the more like politics come into play.
Absolutely.
And like you start working with people who are more vocal about their opinions and whatnot. And I don't know, I'm really against like, I'm super opinionated and I'm really like quite open about it. And for me, like I'm pretty black or white. And so if something just doesn't align with my morals, I'm like, nope. But not everybody works that way.
Yeah.
Like some people, you know, they work differently. And that, yeah, it's weird when you face that because all of a sudden it's no longer like just, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's like I did, perfect example. A role that you will play if you do lingerie is usually you're playing someone that's more glamour. It's going to be more sexy most of the time, or it's going to be super raw. Like, imagine a scenario where like maybe you were just, I don't know what world this woman would live in, but she's walking around in her mansion in her really nice lingerie, and there just happened to be a camera there. I feel like sometimes that's what lingerie is like you're in a studio space and it's not meant to be overtly like super sexual. It's almost like here's like this raw footage of this woman just like in her natural skin.
Yeah. Like as if you're seeing like a private moment in her life.
Yeah, you're looking into a window into this woman's life. So you have to portray that a lot in a lot of the lingerie I've done.
Which is kind of a cool way to go about it because you're not trying to like sell sexy.
No.
You're just trying to sell like, yeah, I walk around my mansion in my like underwear. It's great.
So going back to the opinionated thing though, people will get upset when you do lingerie, which is based more in the let me capture this beautiful moment, if you've already done lingerie that's like basically sexy. And
really?
Yes, and leaning towards sexy. I don't know why. Because technically, if you look at the photos, you're in lingerie no matter what. And especially if you're, you know, a minor. Like, I did a little bit of lingerie when I was 17, like right before I turned 18. But it was very much like capturing a moment situation. Or there were times where like I did have a bottom on, but you couldn't tell, and I maybe had like an oversized like a men's shirt on.
More like implied.
Implied. To me, all of those photos I did though were very like we're just sitting with this girl in her bedroom and she's kind of lounging. It was very like let me capture a moment. So if you started off with that, which I did that around like 17 and then some when I was 18. And then if you go instantly after that to like, oh my gosh, like hypersexual, some people will be like, well, why did she do it so young? Also, like, aren't you almost portraying the same thing? That story I feel like sometimes gets lost. Whereas like if you look at the photos, to me, I can clearly tell when I'm selling two different things. But I think to other people who maybe don't get it, it's like, no, I just see a young girl in like not a lot of clothing. Like, so.
Yeah, I mean, it also makes a big difference, like, what the photos, like, are for. If it's an ad that's, like, geared towards young women, then, yeah, like, a 17-year-old hanging out in, like, her bedroom or whatever, they're going to relate to that.
Well, like, perfect example for me between these two opposites are, if you look at, like, an Aerie ad right now, like American Eagle Aerie, they're very much, like, we're just capturing these fun private moments with these women. And yeah, they happen to be in a bra or maybe like panties. Yeah. But they're not overtly like, we're selling lingerie.
They do a good job with it.
They do a really good job. So there's those ads, or there's like a Victoria's Secret ad where it's like, clearly this is super sexual. This is just a beautiful, gorgeous woman walking around in no clothing in like some mansion somewhere. And it's like, yeah, those are two different people, but they're both technically selling like a lingerie item.
They are.
So those are like two different roles that you would play, but in the same category of like you're selling lingerie or wearing lingerie, not necessarily selling it, but like you're in that mode.
I think like vocabulary plays a big part into it because like, so okay, I was thinking about the Aerie thing when you said it and they didn't even come to mind because I associate them with underwear. Not lingerie.
Exactly.
Underwear. But it is. Like, it is lingerie. It's bra and underwear. Whatever. That's exactly what Victoria's Secret is. So, it's funny that it's the vocabulary surrounding it. Because they don't call it, like, Aerie lingerie.
No, I don't remember what they call it.
They also don't Photoshop their photos.
Which is cool.
Yeah. Now I'm going to be thinking about that. The vocabulary used around things and how that, like, changes how people look at it.
I think it's huge. I don't think people realize that it's huge, but I think it's huge. It's the difference between portraying. I feel like it's along the same lines of bridal, whereas we do cool bridal, like Pinteresty bridal things, whereas like, and that leans a little more editorial fashion-y, more like this is what a bride's looking at when she's looking for a thing, whereas you look at like a David's bridal ad and they're selling the fantasy of the moment of like you and your husband or you and your partner having their beautiful dream wedding and there's like maybe an old school like white car and there's like kids running around, you're throwing your bouquet, like you're selling like the event of the wedding, whereas the bridal that you and I both have done is more you're selling the dress for the woman to wear. So there's completely different things. So you're playing again like two different roles of like, am I selling the fantasy to this person or am I selling the dress to this person? So you have to think about who your audience is to, or who maybe your unintended audience is. Because if you're doing like a really creative, like we just did our shoot, which was leaning more creative and commercial. And if someone looked at that, they're going to look at that a little bit more commercially probably than like fashion-y. And that's just like how we did it though, on purpose. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And then it's like, it's funny if you were to go to like different areas of the country, their interpretation of fashion.
Oh, jeez.
And
yeah.
what constitutes as that. And I don't know, it is like all of those words, like editorial, high fashion, everybody has kind of their own definition based off of what they see and what they're exposed to and what they like.
To me, the perfect example of that is couture, because people throw the word couture around so much. Pure actual couture is usually in Paris only, and it's usually a complete one-off. There's only one made. It's made out of like the most expensive things, and it will only be made once.
Yeah.
So when people say something is couture in general, I'm like, yeah, it kind of mimics that, but it for sure is not. Because if you look at it, like haute couture is so hard to find.
Well, haute couture, you actually have
it's
to
a different
earn
one.
the title.
You do,
of it.
yeah.
You have to have certain like particular training and all of this. You have to work. I'm not even going to pretend to know exactly, but I know it's like this whole, almost like a resume of things that constitutes your skill and designs as haute couture. There's this amazing, I don't know, this is like a little bit of a tangent, but on the topic of haute couture, there's this Netflix show that's called 7 Days Before, and it's all these different events, like the Big Dog Show. Geez, what's it called?
The National? Isn't it
the big one that goes...
The National Dog Show?
Yeah, the Westminster
Dog
Show.
There you go.
So they do an episode on that, and they follow different handlers around, and they're 7 days leading up to the show. Well, they do one for the Christian Dior show, and they like follow up leading up, and you get to see a little bit inside like the models and I learned a lot about what haute couture is through watching that.
That's cool.
Because they get really into like they do a lot of cool close-up shots of what it actually entails to pull off haute
or maybe
couture.
show actually like how it's made. Like I really like now who does it? I think I'm thinking of Versace, I think, on their Instagram a lot now. Like if they made a really cool dress, like specifically I'm thinking of like for the Met Gala, they did a whole series of like professionally shot videos of the people that actually went in and handmade every single inch of the dress, like that Kendall Jenner wore or that Kylie wore on the Met Gala. Like they showed the fabric, they showed all the intricate beading of like people doing it by hand. So lately they've been doing that a lot, where they'll take like a red carpet look and be like, look at all the time and effort that went into this, and like here's video of all the people working on it and the concept, and so I found that kind of cool. It's something cool to watch.
Yeah, you would never imagine. And then people sit around and complain about the price of things, and it's like, this probably took about 40 hours to construct overall with I don't know, 12 to 20 people.
Yeah, who knows?
All
a lot of people.
One person individually, like, I don't know, beading stuff. I just learned the other day that all the braids on Chanel classic jackets, you know, like that unique piping and stuff, there is only one woman that knows how to do that and does that for every piece of Chanel.
That would make sense because they'd want to keep it all the same.
Yeah. And so it's like...
It's specialization.
Right, exactly. So you have to pay more for that. And I don't know. It's fascinating.
Man, that's a cool thing. That'd be kind of cool. I feel like maybe you'd lose your mind slightly because you're doing the same thing. But it'd be real cool.
Rich.
You would be
really cool.
So well.
I know. It would be, you'd have to like secretly teach like one of your grandchildren when they're like too young to do it.
Heck
and then they'll like follow in your footsteps.
I'd almost think this is conspiracy theory. I almost think Chanel would want you to just pass it down through the family so they keep it in the same family. It's like how
it's very dynasty.
Yeah, like in the royal family, there's like usually a big thing about like the people who have worked for them, it stays in their family like many generations. So the same several families will work for like royal families because it's like it's been passed down and they like that family, so they'll keep it in that.
They like
family.
grow up with it.
Yeah, so they just know it all. Like yeah. I don't know.
Fancy.
Obsessions?
Yeah, we could do obsessions. Okay.
Cool. I have one. I'm ready.
It.
Okay. So this is leaning slightly religious, but I like her not necessarily for this reason. There's a YouTuber, her name's Brenda, but her channel's called God is Gray. She's a Christian YouTuber.
Oh, I've seen her on Instagram.
Yeah, she's
designer?
No.
Or that's just her?
That's just
okay,
her.
Okay.
Her Instagram's God is Gray. I followed her for us. That's probably why.
Oh, okay.
Because she also side note from being a Christian YouTuber, and she actually, I think, does a really good job of breaking a lot of stuff down in a very unbiased and educated standpoint. But
Which
besides,
is important.
yeah, but besides that, she's a model too.
Yeah.
And so she kind of slightly talks about it, and she also posts really cool photos. So that's why I followed her on her Instagram. And recently, breaking some barriers. So she recently announced that she's pregnant, and then on her Instagram, she announced that she just got signed with a pregnant woman agency. So
I didn't know those existed.
I really didn't know that there was that specific of a market. I knew that there were, like, if you were pregnant, sometimes they'll be like, let's do some certain shooting for companies, but I didn't know there was an actual agency for it, which I think is very inclusive and cool.
Yeah.
So shout out to Brenda.
Oh my god, you could totally double hit this. Like, you could be a surrogate and a pregnant model and just, like, keep it up and make other people happy with babies.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's not for me, but that's crazy.
But yeah, she just posted that on her Instagram,
Yeah.
so she just joined one, and then I looked at their Instagram and I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, so
we'll post her link in the description.
Yeah.
I think it's really empowering when you see models that so consistently have probably heard because of their boundaries or whatnot that they'll never be able to model. Like, you have a lot more models wearing the hijab.
Yes.
And so Nike, they just, not just, but had a model with that. And so it's really empowering to see these women, like, saying, like, you know what, fuck you. Like, I can
be
and
a
people
pregnant
accepting
model.
it. Yeah, it's cool. Okay. My sessions. Well, so when this airs, I'll already be over there, but
So
I leave.
just talk about it.
Yeah. So I leave for New York Fashion Week here soon, so I'll be there when this is airing, but I get to go walk for Toulon Lace
Woo.
in New York Fashion Week, and I'm going to go to another show, and we have a bunch of fun stuff planned. There's a group of us going from here, and then some of, like, the models up in Seattle, so it'll be like a big Pacific Northwest reunion, and I'm really excited, and I'm super nervous. And shout out to Zoe De La Rocca for sitting down with me yesterday and letting me pick your brain about Fashion Week. She's a really incredible makeup artist here, but she has experience in New York and London.
Cool.
And stuff. So thank you, and I'm excited to, like, share with you guys when I get back how it was, if I survive it.
Sweet. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for listening,
Thanks
guys.
for listening, guys. Make sure you subscribe if you can and rate and review. Follow us on Instagram at Model Talk Podcast PDX. And we're on Facebook now.
Yeah, we have a page.
Yeah. Model Talk Podcast PDX. We can kind of post more photos on there to go with episodes, but
yeah,
reach out, talk to us, let us know what you want to hear. Yeah, we're going to start having guests here in the near future, so
yes,
stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye, guys.